2 days. We now have 2 days left until the deadline that Boris Johnson has set for the European Union. He's going to trigger no deal Brexit and walk away from the Brexit trade talks unless the European Union back down and accept Boris Johnson's trade offer to actually just discuss a normal free trade deal instead of having any political alignment. Now, guess what the European Union are doing today? They are becoming so desperate. They're gathering all the Eurocrats because they're going to have a European Union summit on the same day, Thursday, in 2 days' time, to discuss what they could do to stop this from happening. The latest that we have is that the EU are making a fishing power grab. It's all about fisheries at this point, as an army of 50 UK officials have begun the last-ditch talk. So the European Union are plotting one final desperate power grab attempt over the fishing demands. The situation is that the EU leaders are gearing up for this summit, which is in 2 days' time, the same date the Prime Minister has now used to essentially walk away from the trade talks. Now, we know that Brussels have refused to back down over the fishing demands and the access to UK waters, which meant that talks have failed to progress quickly between the bloc's negotiator Michel Barnier and our British David Frost. So the situation is that this is the summit that will happen actually on Thursday, and we don't exactly know what time this deadline that's been created by the UK is. Is it going to be 11 p.m. UK time, midnight for the European Union side, or is it just going to be a specific time like 6 p.m.? I'm guessing that this is just a vague deadline, probably by midnight in Europe, and by the time this summit is over, the European leaders will have time to make their decisions. Now, at the same time, as we know, Emmanuel Macron and France have been one of the biggest players when it comes to the fishing demands and having access to UK waters. They're now essentially getting other countries to also show outrage. We got Spain. The Spanish are now joining the French to show how angry they are. So they've said now France and Spain join forces in a deal veto a warning as the fishing row erupts. This is the fishermen from France and also Spain. Obviously, we've had comments from the Dutch and also obviously the Danish and all the others, because this isn't just about the English Channel, it's all obviously across the whole island. And the Spanish, who would be potentially joining the French side in this. It's interesting because I don't think Henry VIII would be too happy about this situation, considering the history between the three countries, France, the UK and Spain. But it doesn't really matter because the desperation is actually showing how the European Union will have to change their mind, because otherwise this no deal Brexit stuff is actually going to happen. People are talking about this in the mainstream media in the UK about how it's more likely that Boris Johnson and the negotiating team from London will eventually back down and compromise. My view technically is that, firstly, I don't really predict or speculate things like this, but if it's going to be the UK compromising on anything, they might do it on a smaller scale, but the European Union have to also compromise on a much bigger scale, considering their red lines and demands. So in this whole game of poker, the European Union will lose more. And I really hope that obviously David Frost and Boris Johnson just stick to their word and Thursday walk away from the Brexit trade talks unless the EU change their mind. We don't really know. That's why I'm giving you all these updates on a daily basis and the countdown that we have started on this channel. Now, the next part is all about the scenario of no deal Brexit. Imagine that actually happens. What's going to come into play is the UK internal market. As you know, Boris Johnson had introduced this new internal market bill in Parliament, which was controversial, breaking international law, and the Irish border is going to be a problem. In reality, this is just there to protect the integrity of the union. The internal market, as a concept, has always been there. This is nothing new. So dating back to 1706 and also 1707, when the union between England, Wales, Scotland was created, the internal market ensured that there is an open trade kind of across the UK's four nations. Now, when the UK joined the European project in the 70s, most of the British trade laws were replaced by European laws. And this changed everything. So the devolution of powers to Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland in the 1990s was made within the context of EU membership. So they had power over some policy areas, such as agriculture, but they could not actually do anything when it came to EU law itself. So that's the concept of the UK internal market, and the internal market bill will simply bring everything together, including the situation between the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland, because we still need to trade across the Union between obviously the Irish, not the actual Irish border between those two parts of the area, but it's actually between Northern Ireland and England, Scotland and Wales. So this Northern Ireland Protocol is basically a crucial part of the internal market bill, and therefore the withdrawal agreement, the Northern Ireland Protocol, aims to avoid the introduction of a hard border. Now, it states that Northern Ireland will remain part of the UK's customs territory, so if the UK signs a free trade deal with another country, Northern Irish goods would be included. So this was the protocol, and what this bill is going to be doing, what Boris Johnson wants to do, is if the obviously European Union break their own obligations, which they already have when it comes to good faith, then we can actually also essentially break, to an extent, international law to protect Northern Ireland, to make sure that Northern Ireland remains part of the Union. So this is the biggest problem that could happen as of Thursday, unless both sides somehow decide to compromise. And that is still on the table, guys. So don't take anything for granted. Now, the reaction we've had when it comes to the internal market bill. Let's go through the list of people. We got Charles Michel, who's the president of the European Union Council, who said that breaking international law is not acceptable and does not create the confidence we need to build our future relationship. You've also had the president of the European Parliament, David Sassoli, who said, if the UK government fails to honour the commitments that it signed up to last year, then trust and credibility will be lost. Michel Barnier himself, the negotiator, has now said that trust and confidence are and will be key after the latest UK-EU trade talks finished back in the 10th of September. Now, even Leo Varadkar, our favourite Irish politician, who's also been quite outspoken on this, and you know the certain words they use, kamikaze threats. I mean, this is kind of ridiculous, considering Varadkar has his own problems in his country and is now obviously kicking off about something that is supposed to be protecting our own union. Also, I don't really want to I don't want to be lectured by Eurocrats who are firstly not elected. Secondly, they have no manners. They're talking about respect. When we have people like Charles Michel tweeting pictures like this with Boris Johnson, Charles Michel, Barnier and von der Leyen around the table playing cards, and I'm guessing that's poker. Well, it's definitely poker. And then obviously showing that Boris Johnson's cards are essentially all Joker cards. You know exactly what you're doing. The same thing that Donald Tusk did with Theresa May, insulting our prime ministers. It's not part of the diplomatic talks. It's not. Imagine if, even at times when you had British politicians, whether it was Boris Johnson, whether it was Nigel Farage, or a number of other Brexiteers, made just simple jokes about certain people in the European Union, you all kicked off. The mainstream media kicked off. But somehow, if Charles Michel or Donald Tusk do things like this, no one cares. But it doesn't matter because we're here to expose them. Now, the situation is that we've also had the agriculture bill, which the House of Lords decided to create an obstacle. They created this amendment, which is a protectionist amendment, to ensure that our food standards and regulations are high. And that's what they said. In reality, what they added was a clause that will make it very difficult for the UK to sign trade deals with other countries, especially America. They keep using the American chicken as an excuse, but this amendment was going to be problematic because that meant we can't really trade with any country when it comes to food. Luckily, Boris Johnson has a majority of 80 in the House of Commons. When the bill came back to the Commons, they actually somehow won. So that's good. The MPs voted by 332 votes to 279, although that's only a majority of 53. So I don't know what happened with the other Tory MPs. They backed the government plans to reject the amendment, so that's all good news. And this is the latest update that we have for you guys today on this issue. As I said, we only have 2 days left. The countdown is getting closer. So tomorrow, hopefully, in the European Union, we're going to have more updates from the meetings that Ursula von der Leyen is going to be having with Barnier's team. And then Thursday, which is the main day, Judgment Day, they're going to have their EU summit. And then they're going to have to respond to Downing Street. So don't forget to subscribe, click on the like button and share the video so everyone knows about the latest Brexit update. And if you want to support the channel, become a member, get your perks in return. I'm Tousi, and I'll see you guys in the next video.